say hi over here,
Oh.
just before I flip the camera around.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a special live today. We have a Cucina Quarantena, which is our not quite weekly, maybe twice weekly cooking show. This week, I'm not cooking, actually. I am being joined by some cooking enthusiasts. So this is my friend Anna Savino, who joins us from Piedmont. Buongiorno, or buonasera.
Buongiorno. Buonasera for us, yes.
And your parents also are joining us from Napa, Susie and Ken. Good morning.
Morning.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. So you have Italian heritage. So you've been making Italian cookies for a while, I think, right?
I'm gonna have to, it's really soft, so could you repeat?
You have Italian heritage, so you've been making
Yes.
Italian
Yes.
cookies
So-
for a long time,
So,
right?
you know, my family background is that I'm 100% Italian, comprised of 3 regions. On my mother's side, the Bevilacqua side is Abruzzese. And on my father's side, he is Pugliese from Bari, his father. And his mother is Napolitano. So I have quite a combination, but all representing great food locations.
Very
So
fiery
my
personalities
culture
too.
comes from mostly the Bevilacqua, Abruzzese side of the family. So that's where we have close family still this day in Pescara.
And that's where the Pizzelle are originally from.
Yes.
I looked it up. So that's what we'll be making today, as well as the Biscotti, which are kind of our own family dad's perfected recipe over years and years of experimenting. So we'll be making both of those today because Pizzelle is pretty quick. So I hope you guys like it.
All right, so I am just going to be floating around the background. I'm going to let Anna drive today. So if you have questions, please go ahead and put them into the comment boxes. If you're looking for the recipes because you'd like to cook along, they're on guide-collective.com and look under GC Magazine, our Advent calendar. We featured these recipes a couple of days ago, so you can have them and you can follow along and get out your baking ingredients and get going. And I'll probably do that in the background as well. So have fun, everybody. And I'll be here monitoring questions as well, Anna. So
Okay, sounds
enjoy your
good. Let's
cooking.
do it.
Great.
All right. Bye, Sarah. Thanks. All right, Dad. So I would say take it off because you don't have much time to go. So
Okay, so let's take a quick look at what we'll be making on Susie. So
Okay. Whoop, wait a minute. Gotta flip the camera.
this is their first live, and even
Yeah.
today I get a little nervous doing lives. But
okay, so this is the
Wow.
Biscotti and the Pizzelle. And I think the name origins, actually Biscotti is, Anna, you would agree that in Italy, it's pretty much a term for cookie in Italy, but oftentimes these are called cantucci, correct? The
Yes.
small almond. And pizzelle, the word pizza, round, flat, elle is the small, so that's what those are. So very much a staple in the family. And so that's what we're gonna make. I'm gonna start with the biscotti.
And also for whoever's watching, please let us know what your family recipes are. I know there's a lot of memories related to these cookies, a lot of Italian American Abruzzese roots people living in the States who a lot of people in the US seem to be making these cookies. So we'll see what your recipes are. All right, so what are you starting with?
All right.
Okay, good. So I'm kind of doing something simultaneously here because of time. So I have a couple of logs of the biscotti dough in the oven now so that we can get that to a point where we can cut them and then bake them again. So right now, though, I'm going to make the dough. So all of this is really simple, but the fact that it's simple doesn't mean it always comes out perfectly. So this I played with for a long time. So I'm going to cream the sugar and the butter together. And I won't go through the quantities necessarily because they're on line, so you can check them out. So I just like to take softened butter and then cream it with the sugar.
And
Really
you're
well.
making, this is the biscotti, not the pizzelle.
It's the biscotti.
I can't. Yeah, I'm doing the biscotti now. Yeah.
How's
Oh, the buzzer's going off. I need to flip.
So they're super excited to do this little cooking
So we
show
have
because
these
it's
going
just,
on in the oven. I'm just turning them at the 15-minute point.
tell them again that you turned to?
Yeah, I do it 14 minutes and then I flip them and then 14 minutes again. All right, so back to the dough. A little out of sequence. Okay,
Ask her.
so now I need to,
Can't ask her for volume.
these are the almonds. Now, I think you ought to get your own raw almonds and roast them because it's so much better. So I just roughly chop them.
So just a second, can everybody hear us okay? Is the volume, just let us know if there's any issue with the sound.
Saying, is there any issues with the volume?
Yeah, I'm not, your mom's going to repeat your comments because I can't hear it too well from here.
We can't hear you.
Okay, everybody's saying volume is good.
Okay, volume's good. All right, good.
So Dad, can you use other kinds of nuts, or could it be pistachios? Could it be walnuts?
Anna's asking, could it be other kinds
Absolutely,
of nuts?
absolutely.
Pecans or walnuts or
Hazelnuts. That's the great thing about both these cookies is that you take it the direction of the flavor you want, you know? So whether it's by your flavor extracts or oils or the nuts or the seeds like the anise, you just go the way you want. And that's what part of the perfection is to your own taste. Every household ends up tasting differently. Okay,
So everybody's
we get all this
saying
in.
chow. We have chow from Virginia.
okay, I'm just pointing down.
Okay.
Hi, Margaret. Hi, Paul.
Okay, now I'm going to add my anise seeds.
Okay.
I'm going to put in anise extract. I used to like the anise oil, but I can't seem to find it, so I'm using this. So I'm going to go 3.5 of these.
Mom?
Yeah.
Mary Garland is asking, no need to take the skins off of the almonds.
No, skins, we just buy, raw almonds. No,
Yeah, raw
no need
almonds.
raw almonds.
They go in the oven at like 375 for about 10 minutes. And then make sure they're spread out and they cool totally. Because if they don't, they soften. And then when you put it in the biscotti, then they're going to have a mushy kind of crunch, which is not what you want. Okay, and so a little bit of vanilla. No, excuse me, a little bit of almond.
You said that was Mary Garland?
Yes. And we
Hi,
have
Mary.
everybody's saying hi from all over the United States.
All right.
And India. Namaste.
Namaste.
Okay,
All
I'm doing a
right.
half portion here.
All right.
Normally make 6 logs. I'm doing 3 logs. Already have made 2 there. So 3 eggs into a half portion.
When do we get to the bourbon?
Drink
Okay.
it now.
Did you hear my
I'm drinking
joke?
my
Yeah,
wine.
that was quite good. As a matter of fact, the bourbon, if you look at that bottle, either I make a lot of biscotti or that goes for other purposes. I will not disclose.
Okay, slow down, slow down, slow down.
The egg is in. Now, the funny thing is that when I was learning from my grandmother, Lucia Bevilacqua, when I was sitting down with her, like as a teenager, learning about this stuff, I asked her how much she put like brandy in this, and I use bourbon. Okay, but so when I asked her how much brandy do you put in, she said half an eggshell. So in honor of Lucia Bevilacqua, we will put in half an eggshell of bourbon.
That's pretty cool. I thought you were going to say as much as the whole bottle.
Yeah.
So hi from Oregon, from North Carolina.
All right.
Which is 2 teaspoons.
She's saying there's people from North Carolina, Oregon.
All right, Carolina on my mind.
Hey, Ozzy, I'm a Tar Heel. I don't know if that's a good thing with
That's
you.
right. I was going to wear my Tar Heels t-shirt.
She's talking, so yeah. All right, so that's the wet mixture.
I'm going to mix this really well. Okay. I'm going to put the baking powder in. And In the
So you
fold
don't
back
use,
there.
so Dad doesn't use a mixer.
She's asking, you're not using a mixer. You can do it
In
either
the,
way.
you could use the mixer, but I kind of like to do it by hand, to be honest with you. Particularly a half portion. It's not worth getting that thing messed up and dirty. Okay.
If any of you guys can tell, they're quite the neat freaks. So
She
they
said
don't
we're
want to
neat freaks.
mess up
What's
the
that?
mix.
She said, if anybody can tell, they're neat freaks.
Yeah, yeah, we are neat freaks. Okay, so slowly adding the flour.
And can Dad tell us a little bit about how he perfected this recipe over time?
Yeah, well, both these recipes, I first learned from my grandmother. She made all kinds of cookies. So the mainstay was the Pizzelle, and then Biscotti would be one of many, but not necessarily primary at holidays, because the ones that seemed to be primary were the bugie, the fried ribbons that are dusted with powdered sugar, and the I think they're called fiadini, which are which were my favorite, the ricotta stuffed cookies with a little bit of citron in it, and fig stuffed, and of course the wedding style cookies with their pastel colors with little sprinkles on them. So, but the pizzelle were there always for us to have, and I've got some interesting stories about that also, because you do get OD'd on some of these things.
And with Thanksgiving right
That's
before
Italian
Christmas,
right there.
with Thanksgiving before Christmas, you tend to make a bunch of these for both the holidays.
Yeah, you tend to, she's saying you tend to make a bunch for both Thanksgiving and Christmas over these few months.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Dad can't hear your questions very well, so, but I'll repeat them.
All right, we're getting
Okay.
there. I just like to add a little bit of time so it really incorporates properly. I use the word incorporate because on the food channel, they say that all the time. So another
Dad?
element, level, flavor, yeah, all that stuff.
What about as an alternative, even if it's not your personal flavor, about adding coconut powder to add a bit of crunchiness?
Coconut?
Coconut?
Coconut powder or shredded coconut, actual coconut?
To add crunchiness. Well, I would say personally, these cookies are twice baked. So they're very hard and they've got those hard roasted almonds or nuts inside. So you really probably wouldn't notice quite a difference with the coconut, but you could always try it.
Yeah, she's asking about a variation adding coconut to add some
You know,
more
it's kind of like putting pineapple on pizza,
crunch
but
and texture.
I'm sure if you like the flavors, it'll work great.
It's very traditional Italian recipe, but yeah, let your mind go free and experiment.
She said typically they're hard cookies, but maybe you could explain that they
Well,
don't
yeah,
always
that's part of
come out.
what I worked on. Was it seems to me when you buy the commercial ones, they're either going to break your teeth or they're too cakey soft. And so what I've done is gotten that balance with flour and fat, which is butter, to get the right consistency. And then the timing, of course, in the oven. So that's kind of what I've worked on to make it come together well.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what that looks like.
That's the dough.
Okay. And then, to be honest with you, normally I usually use my hands. Then I wrap it.
Okay, just show them the other.
You're
bowl.
getting lots of love, Dad. Lots of appreciation.
You said you're getting lots of love.
Love back, love back. Okay, so throw that there.
Oh,
He's very
The key
focused.
is, because there's so much butter in this, it has to be cold, cold, cold to handle properly. And that's why it needs to go in the refrigerator overnight, okay?
Okay.
Now, as I'm looking at that, I probably should have mixed it a little bit better, but in the
You're
essence,
under
for the
pressure.
Purposes of time,
under
this will
pressure,
work.
exactly. All right.
So I kind of roll it because then when you finish it like that and it goes in to your refrigerator overnight, this will make 3 logs. So you make it nice and even and you cut it in 3 portions, and that's how you control your log portions, okay? So I'm putting this in the refrigerator.
We'll go back to the finished product.
So in our family, we're not real sweets people. It's all about the antipasti and all the other, the pasta sauces, the meats, but this is the one cookie that my dad makes. So I thought, you know, when I was thinking of something Christmassy, this is a real staple for our family. It's something that's always on the table, always on the menu for the holidays, whereas the other dishes, the long meals with many courses, change often. So Dad, what's on the Christmas menu tonight, this year?
Oh, she's asking what's on the Christmas menu this year.
Well,
Coal.
Cool.
you know, I don't know how I'm going to do like 40 items for 5 people instead of 25 people in COVID-orama here. So
Can you
it's going to be,
show his face?
I'll probably just have to
okay,
feed the neighborhood. I'll probably just have to feed the neighborhood.
Yeah, there.
Well, you can do more gourmet things that are for less people.
She's saying you could do more gourmet things this year.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, you know, to on this point, my background, I've been in the food business my whole life. At 24 years old, I opened an Italian deli and marketplace along with my uncle and a master Italian chef, Mario Bernardone. And then I owned that for a good long while. And so I'm more of the savory side. The 3 things I bake are biscotti, pizzelle, and focaccia. That's it. Everything else are sauces, pastas, and typical Italian kinds of things. So, all right, this guy's about ready to come out. But we're going to begin.
Wait, she's talking. Yeah.
I was gonna say, can you give Dad a glass of wine to relax?
Yeah, really.
I don't think you need another espresso.
Well, it's not exactly the right time of day for wine here either, though.
I might have a cafe in a minute.
No, she said you don't need an
I don't?
espresso. You're raised. She said give you a glass of wine or some of that brandy maybe.
Okay.
Or bourbon.
Okay, so space.
Mhm.
Okay, so what I did yesterday is I made a full batch, which makes 6 logs, which makes 150 biscotti. And then, you know, what I did was I divided them in 6 and I wrapped them so I can handle them during this presentation. And so now they're very firm and hard. It's the dough that we made, mixed properly, not as quickly as what I did in front of me. And what we're going to do is put them on a buttered, floured sheet pan. And the great thing about these quantities is that everything fits just perfectly. So I noticed in my recipe that I said something like 2.5 inches diameter dowel when you roll them out. Too big. It's more like 1.5 inches maximum. All right, so just like you're making gnocchi.
The timer's going to go off.
So just so you guys know, we have about 25 minutes.
25 minutes left.
Okay.
No, 30 minutes.
You can stay as long as you want, in my opinion. It's okay. It's okay. You take your time. You do it the right way. It's no problem.
Okay. So as you can see, that's more like 1 inch or 1.25 inches.
I have pizza coming at about 7:30 my time. I'm joking.
Show those. Yeah.
Okay, so since we're hopping around, after I make these and they go in the oven, these logs, this is 14 minutes, rotated 14 minutes. Then what you do is you cut them and bake them again, 4 minutes on each side, or a little bit more if you like them a little bit crispier, okay? So I'm gonna do that in just a minute. I like to do them when they're hot. So as you can see, that quantity at about 1.25 inches, a sheet pan fits perfectly. So we're going to do 2 of those.
Nancy Bevilacqua is on.
Nancy Bevilacqua's on. Okay.
Nancy, ¿cómo está? Okay, so once again, it's great when it's cold. If you have to put it back in the refrigerator, do it.
So the timing, the perfecting this recipe was really about finding that 14 minutes and 14 minutes. If it was 13 and 13, it would have been not exactly perfect for you.
Did you hear that, Dad?
What's that?
Sort of the perfecting was in getting the timing just about right. The 14 minutes to 14 minutes.
Yes. And
versus 13 minutes, you know.
Okay. So we're going to come back to this. So I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. I'm going to get this other stuff back in.
Okay. Gonna do,
pardon my clearing of throat.
Gonna do cutting now.
Question for all of you guys out there: what cookies
We will
do you
get back to
make
that.
at Christmas time, and what are your favorite cookies to make? Your favorite traditions? We would love to see them in the comments.
Okay, so we form them, excuse me, which I'll finish later. But then you take these out. You can see the degree of brownness. If you want them darker, they'll be a little harder and drier. This is kind of that perfect balance of slight cakiness and crunch. So you, on the slight bias, excuse me, let me get my serrated knife. This makes it easier, serrated knife. Slight bias.
Perfect. Not that one.
See that one failure?
Yeah. It's okay.
When they're,
One
right when they're
out of
hot.
100.
Yeah, it's hot.
Don't let them cool.
Mom, can you ask Dad if he ever made fig cookies, Italian fig cookies?
Someone wants to know, do you ever make Italian fig cookies?
I haven't, you know, I don't really like fig cookies. That's why I mentioned my grandmother made them. But
I still this
is what she always eats, the culo. But I always like the ricotta stuffed ones.
Is there a name for those, Dad? The ricotta stuffed ones?
Is there a name for the ricotta stuffed ones?
Yeah, I think they're called fiadini.
Everybody
Those
see okay?
Yeah, beautiful. Lots of almonds in there. Nice concentration of almonds.
Okay, so
So actually, that's one thing that California has a better quality of, I think, is almonds. When we come home for the holidays in California, it's always fun to load up on California almonds because it's something that we have a hard time finding here in Italy.
Hazelnuts. So use my clearing of throat again.
These would probably be delicious with hazelnuts.
Yes, in fact, we have our friend Paul on right now is saying that he's making coconut and hazelnut cookies from some good hazelnuts from Piedmont that he got from us.
All right.
But they're already toasted, so that makes it easier too. Because toasting is also an art to find the perfect timing for the toasting.
Of course, they're all lined up the same way.
Yeah, I line them the same way so I know that they need to be turned.
So this is the biscotto part, the second bake. So cotto in Italian means cooked.
This
so
is the
biscotto
biscotto part, the second.
Right, second cook.
Panna cotta, so cooked cream. So now you know the word biscotti. But here in Italy, we use biscotti for all cookies, actually. So.
Okay, back in the oven. Normally there are 2 pans of this for a full batch.
For 5 minutes, for about 5.
We're going to go in for, I'm going to put it for 5. Okay,
Pizzelle.
Is that it? Yeah, the smell is awesome.
okay, this is the tricky part, to get them all uniform. So we have the perfect dowel. It goes the full length of the half pan, which is a good measure for you. And then just push it down with your palm of your hand.
Yeah, we're kind of bouncing around different steps, right?
Yeah, we're going backwards now.
This is
Okay,
the
so you flatten those
shaping.
lines.
It's kind of like the old Italian joke with the Italian tank that has 1 gear forward and 5 in reverse. It's kind of what we're doing right now.
Okay. Yeah, you're
Okay,
doing
so
a
I'm
great
getting it
job.
down. Don't worry about making too much of a peak. It rises, okay? So then use your fingertips and start contouring it.
And normally when you buy
wait,
them,
so-
they're much longer. Is there a reason why you chose that size?
Say that again, Anna.
When you buy them around in the stores, they're much longer.
Oh,
And is there a
Yeah,
reason
she's-
why you make them shorter?
this size. Okay, is there a reason
Well,
we make them this size rather than longer?
Because I think they're friendlier to eat, that you don't have to overcommit. You can eat 2 or 3. And I think the reason why commercially they're large is because there's efficiency in production and in packaging by making them larger. And also if they, do the varieties where they dip half of it in chocolate, you have to have it larger to make it work. I just like the smaller one. That's one of the adjustments I made.
Another reason though why they might be longer, I don't know if traditionally they're longer, but they are considered to be like dipping cookies. Like Italians love to eat for breakfast cookies, and they
Right.
love to dip their cookies in their hot milk and with coffee. So the biscotti might be better pucciare, like to dip inside. Question about the butter, Dad. Is there a favorite butter that you use?
Favorite butter.
No, I use unsalted for sure. Actually I just use unsalted butter that is available. I'm sure you could play with that though. It'd be interesting to see if you can get a flavor differential. Okay, so this is what I straighten the sides.
And then the pizzelle dough is already made, right? You already pre-made
I did
that.
make some, yes.
We have it in our recipe online.
We're gonna try to get to that.
Yeah, I think we'll just go to making the pizzelle. I have all the ingredients.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
and so that's it.
Okay. So okay. Yeah. Okay.
And that's the 14-minute, 15-minute.
That's the shape.
But you can see they're not high, all right? So if you look,
We need to fill in here.
see how they rise?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So don't be worried about peaking them. If you have too much of a peak, they're going to crack.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
All right, so that's that.
So we've covered all the steps. Actually. That's basically it. Oh,
Et voila.
over there.
Okay, so how's our time?
Over
We're
there.
fine. Don't worry. We're good. Sarah, so I have like the cheapy Zoom account where it's 45 minutes max, but Sarah's is good. You can keep going.
Okay.
What's that?
We can go past the cheap 45-minute length. So you want me to come over here and you want to show the oven?
Yeah, we can take a look.
Let's see. Got it.
Okay, so
light here.
We're in the Biscotti portion, which is 4 or 5 minutes on each side, depending the color you want and the degree of crunch you want. So this is 4.5 minutes. And I'm going to go to the full 5.
Okay. And is there a reason why you rotate the sheet pan on the logs? Is that because of uneven cooking in the oven?
Yeah,
Good question. Yeah.
because the oven may not be the same temperature, throughout. So just kind of as an insurance for even cooking, to go ahead and rotate. It's not necessary, but it's just have it.
Let's just
Okay.
wait.
Okay.
And so the last step will show
Now-
how you turn those. Yeah.
Now we burn our fingers. Now you see why I did them all one direction. So I know.
Wait, show them what you're doing.
Ah, these are helpful little tips.
Show them what you're doing. Your hands are kind of in the way. You're,
Oh,
you're
So I'm
flipping,
just flipping.
flipping to the other side.
And if you want them a little crispier, leave them longer. And it's the pan side that ends up getting darker because it's almost like frying it, against the metal. So I'm going to leave these in on the second round a little longer to get a little of that action. Okay, now I got to use both hands to get it done.
So there's a question about why Pizzelle is not pronounced with all the syllables, but I'm sure that the Italian way would pronounce it Pizzelle.
Correct. Like,
It's
all the
become
dialects chop off words. So that's what that is.
so as Dad said before, the elle means little and pizza is means round and flat, like a pizza. And I was thinking though, like in Italian, the word pizzo means lace. And also it looks kind of like a lacy kind of design on top.
I didn't know that.
What's that?
Pizzo means lace. So it might.
Oh. So when you got married, you had some pizzo on your dress.
No, I didn't have pizza.
All right, going 5 minutes.
I got it.
5 minutes and that will be done.
All right.
Okay, so it's pizzelle time.
Yay, pizza. So you do, unfortunately, you have to have one of these special Pizzelle irons. But as Lisa was telling us, there's, I think, a Dutch, maybe a Dutch cookie that is similar that you could also make with this. But if you are curious about this, you could, Dad, where do you find these Pizzelle makers?
Well,
Choice.
you can get them online. I used to sell them in my store, and this is one I bought recently. I don't really like it as well as what I used to have.
There's the brand.
I would recommend the brand Palmer. If you can go online and look for a Palmer Pizzelle iron, that is what I would recommend. Okay. The nice feature about this one is it has a lock. So instead of holding it down to get the thickness that you want, this automatically puts it at the right level, which is kind of good.
That was always my job, was just holding it down.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand here and do it.
Okay. So the funny thing is that this is the easiest thing, but it's the hardest thing to come up with and be consistent. So it's slightly different than my grandmother's recipe. There are others in her family, Angie Bevilacqua, Colleen Bevilacqua, all make these a little bit differently. Some add a little orange zest, some add angelica. I just use anise. My grandmother used anisette liqueur, but I already made a little bit of the batter, but it's, again, the sugar and butter, a teaspoon of almond extract, about 3.5 of the anise. And some people put anise seeds in it. I didn't grow up seeing that, but I know people do it. But it seems to kind of take away from the pristine look of a pizza, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm heating this up.
So this is another
And
thing
I
that
have the second half of the batter.
Does this batter have to be refrigerated? No.
Does the batter have to be refrigerated?
Not really. No, I just made it in advance. So I kind of played with it from how we grew up with it and struggled with it. And Anna, as you well know, it's always a struggle to get it off the spoon. So I firmed it up a little bit so it's a little firmer, and it seems to work out fine. So what I'm going to try differently today is use a melon baller scoop, and it might make things much easier. first I'll do it the traditional way.
Okay, I'm gonna come over here and go from this angle, I guess.
And I think Jennifer had asked about my grandmother using shortening and not butter, because this is butter, not shortening. And the answer to that is yes, she's correct. She used Crisco, as I recall. And the explanation of that is that Crisco, going back to, let's say, Depression days, butter was very expensive. So they went that direction instead of butter. They have a slightly different impact. I have a feeling that the shortening gives a little bit more structure, but I went butter, a little purer in concept. So that's what I do. But the answer to my grandmother using shortening is correct. She did. And I modified it to butter.
Does that make a difference with the final product, the consistency, or pretty
I
much
think
the
it
same?
makes a difference in the consistency.
Like I said, I think that the shortening gives it a little more structure, kind of holds up, doesn't melt as quickly, the butter.
Come in here.
So you have a little more of an opportunity.
Okay, so we try to get it explained.
This is the toughest part. Put it a little bit higher than center.
Takes a few practice.
Get down there, buddy boy.
It's a pretty thick batter.
It is. Well, part of it too is because I had it in the refrigerator.
Right,
Okay.
so now-
Okay, so I bring it down. You'll see steam come up. See the steam, it's coming up. And then it takes about 25 seconds. And my little thing is I say the Hail Mary prayer. It's just about right.
Okay. Can you say it for us?
What's that?
Can you say it for us? Pray with us.
Oh yeah, I'll
Pray
do the
while
next
you-
one.
Okay, I have to go do that. Okay, finish.
Okay, so I need my cooling rack.
Okay, we got the buzzer going too.
Now when they come out, you can see they're really soft. That's when, if you want to make like a cannoli style shell, wrap it around the tube, or make a cone, you can do that. Now,
Dad,
these
can
are,
you
let me
run
get rid of the
it?
background noise.
Perfect. Lots going on here.
Yeah, lots going on.
And the biscotti are done.
Mhm.
They should immediately go on a cooling rack, but I'm not going to do it right now because I want to do this.
We got other things.
Okay,
Okay.
we're waiting for the Hail Mary.
Okay, you're gonna do the Hail Mary on the next
All
one.
right. Okay. Here we go. Sometimes
However,
what I'll
Dad,
do is I'll do 2 spoons.
I see that you have the silicone mat underneath, made in France. That doesn't look as good.
Oh yeah, that's.
I know that doesn't belong in this household.
I-
Actually, Mary, I think you gave that to us.
I
No,
kind of wanted
maybe
to
not.
act a little more sophisticated, you know. Okay. So
Nothing against the French. We love France too.
come on, Mama.
You gonna try the melon ball? Okay.
Okay, so I would do Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee.
thee.
Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour
Not too bad.
of our death. Amen.
Nope.
You have to say amen like 3 more times. Amen, 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 amen.
Those didn't turn out right.
I kind of went through it quickly.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
that was a miss.
those were not. Those were
All right,
failures.
here's what I'm gonna try. I do want to try this melon ball.
And then they get harder, obviously, when they dry.
Yes.
But
They get harder
sometimes,
as they
some
dry.
years,
Yes.
That's
some
a
years
cool-
I remember that they were soft. Or is that when you just keep them in the
These are
Tupperware?
gonna be big.
She's saying some years she remembers them being soft and others,
Yes.
you know, it.
That was part, that's what I'm saying. It's a simple cookie, but it's hard to get it to be consistent. So I finally, that's why this is a little stiffer, is that I'm finding that I get them to be very firm.
Because we like them crispy, right?
Well, some people like them crispy. Some people might like them less crispy. We like them crispy.
All right,
Mr.
that,
Crispy.
okay, so the melon baller is a little bit on the big side here.
Little
So the heck with the melon baller, okay?
now you have
that-
a bunch of critics watching
Oh.
you.
Melon baller. is
Waffle time.
But you know,
Some
you could
maple
put
syrup on those.
Nutella between these. You can make ice cream sandwiches.
So Jerry, I'm actually in Piemonte, Italy. These are my parents in my house where I grew up in Napa, California. But I grew up in Sonoma for more years than I did in Napa, which was more country. Okay, we're letting Dad say his Hail Mary in private,
I'm really praying now.
which might.
I swear to God, the hardest thing is to get these things centered.
It's that left one that's too low all the time.
What's that?
The left one
that
is
is
too low all the time.
That's half the fun, isn't it? Just trying to get these things in the right spot. Then
Do you think
the little dollops have a mind of their own. So you just
Is there
have to
anything
live
else
with the imperfection.
Is there anything else important you'd like to tell us, or do you think we should wrap it up?
Yeah. Anything else important or wrap?
Oh, yeah, let me tell you a quick story.
Tell the quick story and then we'll. Yeah.
So my grandmother would make like millions of these things. I like millions. So when I was in college, she would send me back with a Tupperware that was like 12 inches high by 18 inches square. And it would hold like 100 or more of those things. I bring it back to my dorm room and I keep bringing back the dorm room. At first, the guys thought they were great, they were fun and all that. And then it got to the point where they didn't want to see them anymore. So we established a game. Now, I'm full disclosure, maybe the first time, Cardinal Lucia, Grandma, I may go to hell over this. I lived on the 8th floor and we used to use these as Frisbees. And we throw them out the 8th floor window and see how far across the mall we could throw them. And whoever get the greatest distance won.
Oh my God. Okay. With that,
All right.
do you want to wrap it up?
So if there are any questions, I don't even mind if someone wanted to messenger me or text me or email me. I have lots of photographs of all of this at each stage that I could provide.
Well, you can go back on Sarah's page. You can look at the comments and questions and respond. And Sarah is back on.
I've been watching the whole time, drinking my coffee and enjoying your guys' banter. You guys remind me of me and my dad.
Great.
So wonderful cookies. Those look fantastic. I feel like I can smell them through the computer. So thank you so much for sharing with us today how you make your traditional Italian cookies. They look really, really good.
Well, it was a pleasure, and maybe we'll do something again.
Yeah.
And Buon Natale to everybody.
Buon
Thank
Natale
you.
also to you.
And remember that
Ciao, ciao.
the recipes you can find on the Guide Collective blog post, Biscotti and Pizzelle. So you'll find
Yes,
them
I've
there.
already put those, linked those to this conversation. So if you look, there's a comment from me that links directly to the recipes. And thank you for joining us for another Cucina Quarantena. We're going to be having baking all next week. So starting from tomorrow, I'm going to be doing different holiday baking. So join me for baking from different countries for the entire week. So have a great weekend, everybody. And thanks for joining us again. Mwah.
Ciao, ciao.
Buon
Ciao,
Natale.
ciao.
Good to see you, Anna. Ciao.
You too. Bye.